Hello everyone! It's been a while, so I thought it'd be fun to do a new Q&A. Before we get to the questions, I do have a couple of announcements and a bit of information to share. First off, I'm going to be on the Final Boss podcast. Oh yeah, and that will be on December 22nd. So not coming Sunday, but the week after that. It will be at 10 PM my time, so Central European time, and I'll add all the other time lists in the screen. So feel free to pop in, always fun to have a little chat, and I hope it will be a fun show. The second thing, the Google Plus situation that a couple have still been asking about, I've managed to fix it so that I can leave comments again, but that wasn't my main issue with it. My problem with these changes is not just only that I'm forced to use a website that I don't want to, or that website uses profile pictures for advertisements. No, my problem is that even if I was forced to use this system and it was a good system, I kinda could get behind it. The thing is, this new system is absolute shit. I can't find comments like I used to. And when I do find a comment that I want to reply to, sometimes people turn off the option to reply, so it becomes a huge time waste to find comments and try to reply to them. It sucks, it really does, because responding to comments, interacting with you guys, that's what made YouTube fun for me, and they've made it that much harder to do. I still try to keep up with the comments, but you might have noticed that I respond less, and the reason for that is not because I'm no longer interested in what you have to say, it's because the new system is absolute shit. Simple as that. As a final note, and you might have heard about this from other channels, there's a new copyright thing going around claiming copyright on gaming footage. I'm in luck, since Blizzard is really cool when it comes to their fans. They allow you to upload and monetize your creative content as long as you don't use trailers or cinematics. And even when it comes to those two things, you can still get away with it with only using like 5 or 10 seconds. I think that's absolutely brilliant, and I hope more companies follow that example, because some people just need that income to make their content. Some have created a job for themselves with YouTube, and it's very simple. People need to eat, people need a home. Making videos is fun as a hobby, and anyone can still do that, but some of these let's plays or reviews or content is at such a high level, or it takes so much time, that you can no longer do it as a hobby without losing your house or your food on the table. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much more they can fuck up YouTube before it goes completely under. Oh well, that's enough of these highlights. Let's just get to the questions and see where we end up. Hey Nobble, quick lore question. Why did Arthas want to become the Lich King? Was it because Frostmourne told him so, or was it something else? That's the beauty of the story of Arthas. It's a little bit debatable as to when he made the choice that would lead him on the path to the Lich King. Some would say that it was the culling of Strathholm, where he made the choice to purge the city. Some would say that it was the moment where he picked up Frostmourne, or the time that he spent in Northrend listening to the whispers and slowly losing his mind. Some would say that the point of no return only happened when he placed the helmet on his head. And even then, it's still debatable, was it that moment? I personally believe that the crucial moment in the life of Arthas was when he took his horse Invincible for a ride. It was snowy that day and the road was slick with ice. Invincible made a jump that he had made countless times before, only this time he slipped and injured himself. Arthas loved that horse, and he tried to invoke the holy light to heal him, but it wouldn't come to him. Invincible was reeling in pain, eyes rolling in his sockets, and Arthas knew what had to be done. He picked up his sword and he struck his beloved horse in the heart, ending his suffering. I believe that moment was the crucial moment that would drive Arthas on the rest of his journey. The holy light failed him, he failed Invincible, and he vowed that he would never ever let something like this happen again. This is what eventually pushed him in following Kel'Thuzad, in the culling of Strathholm, making the journey to Northrend, burning down those ships, and even picking up Frostmourne. He would do anything in his power, take any curse, if it meant that he could save his people and his kingdom. Of course, as we all know, exactly the opposite happened, but that's what makes his story so great. A good guy who slowly falls to darkness, despite trying to do what he thinks is best, and in the end, he loses everything. So long story short, if you ask me, I think his moment was when he had to put Invincible down. But that's very debatable. Hey Noble, can you give us some more background info on why Thrall chose Garrosh to be warchief and why he didn't pick one of the other racial leaders for the role? This is a very good question, and I don't think I can give you the answer for it, because even I don't completely understand it. I think we need to look at it from two sides. You have lore reasons and gameplay reasons, as in what they want to do with the game and where do they want to take the story. I believe that they first had the idea of going back to the orcish roots. Thrall, as much as I love him, isn't a real orc compared to where the orcs originally came from. He's more about negotiation, politics, keeping the peace and trying to work together, while the original orcs were more like Garrosh as we saw him in the Cataclysm. By making Garrosh warchief, they had the chance to go back to the roots with the current horde. But, and this is my interpretation from the information, people didn't like Garrosh. There was a whole bunch of complaining way back when, so they decided to turn him into this enemy for everyone. Of course, now that they did this, people come out and say that they really like Garrosh, so you can't really win, and they've placed Garrosh on the journey of failing at the end of the siege, which will move into the next expansion. So that's from the Blizzard's point of view, trying to get back to the roots. People didn't like Garrosh, turn him into the bad guy. People did like Garrosh. Next expansion. From a lore point of view, it doesn't make much sense to me. Thrall chose Garrosh over people like Cairn or Eitrigg or Sourfang or Vol'jin, people who've been with the Horde for so much longer, and even Garrosh himself told Thrall that he wasn't into politics and ruling, that he preferred to serve the Horde as a tactician and on the battlefield. The main reason behind it that I could find was that Garrosh kicked butt in Northrend and he was slowly but surely becoming a hero to the Horde. The orcs really liked him and Thrall thought that the Horde needs a strong leader like Garrosh to make it through the Cataclysm. A stronger leader than he was, someone who wasn't afraid to make those decisions. So there you go, those are the reasons that I could find, and keep in mind, I could be completely wrong. I'm just trying to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense to begin with. Hey Noble, so I noticed in the Elgolan, I think that's his name, it was an Ulduar I think, encounter it shows the continents, but the other side of Azeroth was blank. I would love to know what you think of this, Noble, so what do you think of it? From Tom Sheballs. I hope I understand the question. You mean, do I think that there's more lands to uncover on Azeroth? Well, last BlizzCon the red shirt guy asked a similar question and they said that there might be more unexplored land. This makes absolute sense since I don't think they'll go ahead and say this is all of Azeroth. That would block off any potential to take place on new land in Azeroth, so yes, there's always more room for land to be added to our planet. I have a question. Kil'jaeden wanted Illidan to destroy the Frozen Throne. Why? And is Illidan the only one that can destroy the Frozen Throne? Heart icon.
Many months after the Legion's defeat at the Battle of Mount Hyjal, I was visited by one of the last great demon lords, Kil'jaeden.
Illidan, in the past you have been both friend and foe to the Burning Legion. But by consuming the skull of Gul'dan, you sealed our defeat in this world. I come to offer you a second chance to serve us.
What would you have me do, Great One?
My creation, the Lich King, has betrayed me. He dared to break the pact that binds him to my will. But his spirit still lies trapped inside the frozen throne of Icecrown. Destroy it for me, and I will grant you your heart's desire.
It shall be done, Great One. It shall be done.
So, Kil'jaeden turned Ner'zhul into the Lich King, and Ner'zhul was like, hell no! So he betrayed Kil'jaeden, and Kil'jaeden sought out Illidan to do his dirty work and destroy Ner'zhul before he got out of control. I'm not sure if Illidan is the only one who can do this. There are a lot of powerful people on Azeroth, but yeah, for some reason, probably because of Illidan's history with the Burning Legion, Kil'jaeden sought him out and he got the job. What happened to Lok'Tar Ogar? Why did Garrosh lie there in defeat? Victory or death means victory or death. Garrosh betrayed his own ideology. I hope I pronounced it right. Well, if someone refuses to kill you, you can't really go down in flames, and killing yourself is not an honorable way to go for the orcs. This is also what makes the ending better, in my opinion. We basically rob Garrosh of his honor by imprisoning him and supposedly executing him outside of combat. We rob him of his honor, a fate worse than death for the orcs. Many people think that Varian should have listened to Jaina and taken out the Horde. My question, do you think that the Alliance would have won the resulting battle? Look at the odds, at the very least they are even, and since I don't see all the Alliance leaders, the Alliance may very well be outnumbered. Well, this has been quite the debate on the forums, and first of all, a lot of people took dismantling the Horde as killing all of them right there on the spot. Dismantling is not the same as killing everyone. You could also force the Horde to disband, for example. You could place a different leader in charge. There is a ton of things besides just killing everyone that you could have meant with dismantling the Horde. Now to your question, if they would have attacked right in that room, well, it would be very hard to decide who would win. To be honest, there were more heroes of the Horde, more leaders of the Horde present, so I would imagine that the Horde to win that fight. However, Varian isn't that stupid, and if he was going to kill all the Horde, it would happen with the full force of the Alliance, and as the story is right now, the Alliance outpowers the Horde and outnumbers the Horde. They are a united juggernaut, where the Horde is a recovering band of rebels. I know a lot of people have been debating about this, create certain scenarios where the Horde would win over the Alliance, but that's not where the current story is. It might change again in the future, the power might shift. I personally hope that the Alliance gets some internal struggle to deal with, because that makes for a great story. I don't like it when we're all together and buddy and every race just follows Great King Varian. I personally would like to see some diversity in the future, with more story for the other races besides just the humans. Let's hope so. Why do the new undead risen by Sylvanas follow her? Does she have any control over their free will? Also, more Sylvanas Forsaken lore is on the list. And the rest of your question is a very good question, and it's a problem in the current Sylvanas story. Right now, Sylvanas is resurrecting herself instead of taking in those that fell to Arthas, fell to the Plague, those that fell to the Scourge. They've tried to make her look less evil than Arthas by adding the option of these new Forsaken. They get a choice to either serve Sylvanas, leave, or return to the grave. Now comes the problem. These Forsaken used to be humans, citizens of Lordaeron and part of the Alliance. Why would they fight and die for their queen if given the choice? Was their motivation to possibly kill former friends, former family, former allies? Who in their right mind would serve the Horde just because they were resurrected from the grave? You could argue that these people have been under the ground for quite a while, all of their family and friends are dead, and they feel betrayed by the Alliance for letting them die. That could be a motivation, it could be a reason. It's a weak one in my opinion, but you could go with it. But say that Sylvanas takes this power to the battlefield like Arthas has done in the past. The might of the Scourge was mostly because they could resurrect their fallen enemies and force them to fight for the Scourge. If they keep this choice in the story, that makes Sylvanas not so much of a threat. If she would resurrect fallen soldiers on the battlefield, they would just stand at the side of their brothers and keep fighting the Forsaken. So yeah, in my opinion, it was a huge mistake to add this option of choice, since it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Hey Nobble, I want to hear your opinion on this matter. Who do you think is going to be the Horde or the Alliance next bad guy? For example, who will turn insane, who will start the war, and who will bring the peace? As it stands right now, I would say Sylvanas for the Horde. Lorfmar is not really loyal, since he almost left the Horde for the Alliance, but as long as things are good, he'll stay with the Horde and he will fight for the Horde. I can imagine Sylvanas pulling a Garrosh and making herself a threat to everyone else, but only if it would serve her goal of staying alive. That's her main motivation right now, so that could be a reason, although making yourself a target for the rest of the world is not the best way to go if you want to stay alive. On the Alliance side, I would say Jaina. Moira of the Dark Iron Dwarfs, she started out as this bad guy, or bad girl actually, but she's slowly earning her place within the Council and within the Alliance. Jaina still holds a grudge against the Horde, so if anyone is willing to go to war again, it is Jaina. I would love to see a Jaina Sylvanas co-op to take over the world. These two women, scorned by Arthas, now team up and take on the world. I would love to see this. Who is Lord Jaraxxus? We've never encountered him in Warcraft 3 or WoW.
You face Jaraxxus, Illidan, Lord of the Burning Legion.
We faced him in WoW in the Trial of the Crusader. And besides that, there isn't really any lore behind him. Wilfred Fizzlebang, he tried to summon a Doomguard, messed up and got killed for it. There is a brilliant song by Mindflame that I'll link in the description that is just beautiful for Lord Jaraxxus. But yeah, to be honest, he's kind of like a crowd favorite with his voice acting and what he did in the fight. But he's not a main lore character. Not yet anyways. Which brings us to the final question for today. Hey Nobble, about this peace thing. To what extent do you think this would go? Would it be flowers and sunshine, guards stop attacking you on sight, you can go to the other faction's capital, or will it simply be a cosmetic thing? A lore detail with no effect on the game itself. From Simeon Florev. I think it's going to be like any piece that we've had in Warcraft. It counts for the story, but gameplay wise, we won't notice it. I, as an Alliance player, won't be able to walk into Orgrimmar and have a beer with Gammon, because the guards will kick my butt. Gameplay always goes above the lore, and the battlegrounds, world PvP, or well, world ganking, town guards, all that stuff will still be there. There has been a suggestion going around that I would love to hear you guys your opinion on. The suggestion is to allow factions of both the Horde and the Alliance to mix and mingle. So for example, you make a Forsaken and you don't like the Horde anymore, you could go Alliance. You make a Gnome and you're sick and tired of not having Gnomedagon, so you decide to chill in Orgrimmar with the Horde. Or maybe to a lesser extent and just allow Horde and Alliance to team up for raids or battlegrounds or whatever they want to do. Give freedom for friends to play with each other no matter what faction they play. I personally think it's a very interesting idea which could make the game feel a bit more fresh without any massive changes. When I first heard the suggestion, I was like, no way man, this is the world of Warcraft, red versus blue, that would be game breaking. But then I thought about it for a little longer and I figured, what would it actually break? I mean, we already have pandas on both sides who are fighting the opposite faction. How cool would it be just to be able to team up with your friends despite being in different factions? It would take a little bit of the edge off of racial abilities, because you could just roll a troll, for example, and still raid with the Alliance. Underpopulated servers with just a couple of people on it, no longer a problem because both factions can work together and they can make teams together. I think it has a lot of advantages and I think it would be really cool. Lore-wise, for the story, it wouldn't make much sense, of course. I mean, Forsaken in the Alliance, Draenei living with the Orcs, that would be silly. But gameplay-wise, I think it has potential. That's just my opinion though, and I would love to hear what you guys think about it. So leave a comment if you want and you have an opinion to share. Don't forget, 22nd of December the podcast. Oh, and I actually forgot to mention, there's another guest, of course. We have Bay, we have Anna, those are the hosts. Then there's me. And there's another guest, someone who I've been a fan of for a very long time. So I'm very excited for it. So I hope you guys come in, hang out in the chat if you like. And yeah, that's the end of my Q&A. Until next time, guys. See ya.
Reporting for duty.
The light protects me.
Not on my watch.
Put this apple on your head.
Victory or death.
I fight.
Reporting for duty. You call that a weapon?
I fight.
must cleanse the Sunwell.
The light protects me.
Victory!
Hey, catch!
To Northrend! Reporting for duty.